And here we are, another Smackdown review, of course. This also comes into a lot of bad territory. The burial of, I think, Finn Balor came to a lot. I mean, literally a lot. It's either they have no faith in this guy to keep him over consistently in the main event scene, just to get awkwardly escorted out in a feud with Baron Corbin. For no reason. And my gripe is with this whole Happy Corbin gimmick, this bullshit. Corbin's poor, all because he lost a gimmick that he didn't even emphasize that he was getting financially supported. How come they never gave this down on his luck gimmick when he was an authority figure? Remember when he was GM of SmackDown not that long ago? I mean, no, he was the Raw GM with Kurt Angle, and they feuded over that. How come that wasn't the thing? And then he lost his authority figure shit in a match. Wouldn't that make more sense of being a guy down on his luck? Because a guy losing a gimmick and then somehow getting poor and his life sucking, not that really big if nobody cared about the gimmick to begin with. But at least there's something with Corbin. At least Corbin has, I guess, a character. I don't really care about what Finn Balor is doing. We had a John Cena promo. It was actually better than last week. It was like a John Cena-esque promo. This one actually explained over how Roman Reigns be ducking him because he'll be because he doesn't want to wrestle him because how bad he'll make him look. Decent. I'll say it was an average promo to build over to SummerSlam, even though like Finn already got a contract signing with the minimal build. So I already knew it was gonna be one thing. Cena was somehow gonna get involved in a contract signing. Somebody's gonna run in and Cena's gonna sign the contract because there's no minimal anything to show that Finn Balor is getting pushed for SummerSlam after just coming back and not being that big of a draw for Roman Reigns to go over. So they're treating the first ever Universal Champion as already a pushover just to be in a minuscule mid card feud because how much he sucks. That's amazing. I mean, you can account to him pushing out his arms and doing gun gestures, doing a lot of drop kicks, and then you think that he's an extensive, interesting character, all because he has face paint on, even though nothing about him is interesting. I'm not saying that because I want to like give over this hate that everybody on the indies sucks, but whenever I just like these guys are not showing much to actually show that a lot more people should be able to watch them. That's my understanding of it. Like when you see a guy like Brian Cage, you can put him in a bodybuilder magazine. When you see Finn Balor, you can put him in a magazine that looks like this guy never been in a fight in his life except with his girlfriend. That is Euro that cheated on him with a black guy. That's what I can say out of most of this. And obviously Sasha Banks came back in the show. We had Jimmy Uso against Rey Mysterio, and the match was alright, but we were like nearly half a minute into our opener. They can't format matches for shit. People still call this the A show. Yeah, it ended with Dominic coming over, pulling where Ray had a roll up going off the crucifix. Dominic holds his back for the pin, just like what the Usos have been doing over the last couple of weeks. So it's cheat and cheat. They're probably also gonna mimic Eddie Guerrero's way of cheating come their next feud. So we're gonna see Jay versus Dominic next week on SmackDown, or we're gonna have another random 6-man. Wow, that's such an amazing feud. Went over this over in the live stream how they can't format real tag team feuds anymore. It's really abundant, like how much they're like rip off universe mode and the way to format that is short and make sure that we don't have to make unique match stipulation. Because if it's Elias wrestling, it's gonna be Symphony of Destruction match, or we're just gonna fuck that everywhere match where everybody just uses kendo sticks in a steel chair. Oh, it's just ironic. Remember, I saw people using stop signs, shopping carts, stuff that looks like it can still be used for slapstick, but also can hurt. Nobody uses Sony's anymore. I remember I saw wrestlers using stop signs, frying pans, like fight in and out the arena. That was just at WrestleMania 17. Oh, and then a hardcore match with Kane, Big Show, and fucking Raven. And that match is still memorable than any match I saw for the 24/7 Championship. We had Reginald versus Chad Gable, with Otis with a small distraction thinking that he was going to be the opponent for a cheap shot of Chad Gable. and Otis came over, jumping into a DQ for the 24/7 championship. Weren't you guys chasing for the tag titles for a bit after your stupid feud with the Street Profits? And they weren't even on TV to do a promo. I don't know what they're forcing over for Reginald that he's 24/7 champion. It's like you'd think he'd be doing this to try to impress Nia Jax, to win her back. Actually emphasize this as like a bit of a story. And now they don't even give a shit about most of this because it's just a flippy Negro with a suit. And other than that, I don't know. He's just not that entertaining. Next, we had, of course, a six-man tag. There's not even a story between this. They're just doing this for a six-man tag. The sake of a six-man tag. There's like the bare minimum of a feud with Big E and Apollo, and Nakamura is just there, and the Dirty Dogs are there. So it's like, okay, these are our most relevant mid-carders. Just put them in a six-man tag. Nakamura won off a schoolboy, reversed over by Apollo into a Kinshasa, so he just got the Intercontinental Champion. Match itself was actually pretty consumable for a six-man tag. It was like worth at least one commercial break. Cool pops involving Cesaro, and I feel like he just needs to stay in the mid card. I'm sorry, I can't see him in the main event again. I swear, people said that Roman Reigns and Cesaro's match was match of the year caliber, and I swear nobody remembers his spot still. And just knowing like this is the equivalent of how they have most of these guys just still wrestle. Basically, they did nothing to make sure Apollo teased as a wild card into the main event scene. He was just a guy holding the Money in the Bank briefcase. So they're not even emphasizing more of a Big E getting more of the bigger push, even though he has the biggest wild card to earn a title shot. So that's already not a good thing. Rick Boog saved the entrance of Nakamura doing Naruto poses, and I don't know what in the world was like Ziggler and Rude there for, other than just to be there for the six-man tag. I forgot that they were even a tag team because they have nothing to do with Rude, and Ziggler always is going to be in mid-card purgatory for the rest of his career, and that has to suck. Then Seth Rollins, after Edge was supposed to make an appearance after, he's like, "Fear me." I don't know where in the. I understand Edge always has that aggressive nature about him. Like, he actually shows more emphasizing emotion, and that's okay. That's great acting. That's great facial expression. I don't mind it. But, like, do you always feel like Edge, where's the ultimate opportunist and not the aggressive guy in sex? That's what Edge sounds like right now. I want to feel it. I want to feel it. Fear me. Like, Edge is not a killer. He's an opportuning Canadian looking rock star that'll take any chance that he gets to get to the upper echelon of WWE. That's him. I don't mind him being a babyface, but I want him to act like a bit more smarter. Because he's just acting like an average babyface now that can scream. He still does great promos for SmackDown. Don't get me wrong. He's still the best part about SmackDown, but it's only here for a temporary amount of time. Sucks to say. And Seth Rollins had a curb stomp on Edge, and it was during commercial break. Rollins even said over his promo that he can't be Universal Champion. Neither can Edge. Yeah. Oh, I don't give a shit. This match is gonna be good, and this comes over to the cost of costing Edge a title match that's gonna be personal. Just to force over a feud with Rollins that I guess would push him over to be big time, depending on how the match is going to be, because we're going to see another 7-month match feud with Cesaro. So this is a better option for him to do, because we know Rollins can't elevate anybody else, because he never does. Ah, Then we had a Bianca Belair promo like later in the night with Carmella trying to like talk shit. Then Zelina Vega trying to get in the face, trying to make herself the title picture. Even though most of these women on the roster are jobbers, and people knew that they were supposed to bring over Sasha Banks because they have nobody that can realistically beat Bianca Belair, especially Bayley anymore. So it had to be Sasha. And then she comes over to help her in the tag match. And then uh, th- like it's super obvious that she's gonna turn. So they just did it at the same night. And then we had the contract signing with Roman and Balor, and it's like I'm going to beat you for the universe. Like I'm serious. What part of this guy just screams that he's going to have a tenure in the WWE? This guy is boring as shit. I'm not even trying to like glance over. Like if you're saying that a guy is great only in developmental, you guys are shitting the bed in the excuses that this guy's actually going to be a big time star. I'm being serious. Just have the most generic promo that I don't care. How's it gonna be? I'm gonna be Universal Champion. If there's any chance Finn Balor would be a draw, please call back over to me. Don't you dare tell me how many people will show up over the Wrestle Kingdom, because they're there to see the Japanese people. They're not there to see weirdo Finn Balor wear anti-venom face paint kicking people. That's just stupid to me. So after Balor came over trying to sign over the contract after the long-winded warning over by Roman Reigns saying that I smashed him. Pause. Yeah. You couldn't say just put him in a shirt or something? Or I made you famous, like actual cool things, like just saying I smashed him, stacked him, bashed him, and then finished on their face with a Superman punch. Just sounds disgusting, Roman. Please stop. There's children watching, bro. And it just it gets more blunt and boring when it doesn't sound like he's being dominant in the promo, especially even if we know everything that's going to happen in the Roman Reigns match now. At least when he was a babyface, he looked realistic and he did actual cool heavyweight moves. Like he did his Razor's Edge sit down powerbomb that looked cool. Running drop kick off the apron. You know, people talk shit about Roman. He actually had a pretty cool arsenal, and it looked realistic every time he was about to fight, except probably Brock Lesnar, because Brock Lesnar can legally kill somebody. And ends with Corbin coming out over for no reason, thinking even though this was a scheduled contract signing with already the paperwork to confirm it, Corbin thinks if he writes his name on it, somehow he would get a title shot. And then John Cena came, obviously to interrupt the affairs after they just had an interaction opening of the show. So he gets rid of Corbin, and that is a huge strategy from Adam Pearce. Like two run-ins were obviously your strategy. So obviously now that Corbin and Balor got a feud for no fucking reason other than he cost him a title shot, and now just Cena's now into the fray. Why not just have Roman accept his challenge so we can just get on with this mess? That took the bare minimum of 2 weeks now, and now we have under 3 weeks remaining. That took that was that got the bare minimum of any excitement that you heard from a rolling loud crowd from last week. And now we have the main event. That was Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair against Carmella and Zelina Vega. Two jobbers. That you forgot one of them was a women's champion. And Banks, Gorilla Presser. You can see the absolute amazing chemistry with Belair and Banks. And then it comes with a tornado DDT. It ends with the Banks statement on Carmella. Match was completely average over to get Sasha Banks some pop. And then the big surprise, it comes into Sasha Banks turning heel and like a new record or something for the most obvious turn against the babyface. Even though like Bianca Belair should be smarter because she just beat her for the title like in the last match that she ever was in the last what 3 months. Dumbest thing I've ever seen. That felt so underwhelming over as a as an ending to like capitalize and trying to build over Banks. And hell, it probably will be the second to last main event because I still think that these women are actually that important to the show. Oh, all SmackDown women's roster is so dull. They'll probably have like 6 months of hot potato in the belt with Banks, Belair, probably Bailey when she comes back from injury. And I'm just this conflicted with knowing that this is the equivalent to people saying that this is the A show when it's nearly the same matches except they're formatted a tiny bit differently to just give a different match stipulation. Or they'll have a 6-man match, or an 8-man match, or a tag team match at the main event. But oh, you're here to see the Roman Reigns, Edge, and Cena promos. Garbage. The show was at least like a freaking like a 4 out of 10. This was completely average. I'll say that the opener got me a bit entertained with Cena, Corbin acting like everything in his life in this wreck. Not even his, not he can't even perform well with his wife. But this could have been transitioned a lot better over a goddamn King gimmick, and everybody here is just a mid Carter. That's my complaint over this. There's no equivalency of giant star power other than the part timers that we have in slash Roman Reigns. What part of this is anticipating any excitement going into the build? All I'm seeing is mid card feud, mid card feud, mid card feud, mid card feud, and then we have, of course, Roman Reigns and Cena, and Edge is just gonna just try to get Rollins over the best he can with a 5-star match that people are gonna forget in 3 months. That's the antithesis of like how WWE formats over the show because they have like the bare minimum like level of good writers to make anything feel like an episodic TV show that's gonna be on prime time on Fox. That's the worst part. They'll probably gain over like 10K viewers or some shit, while AEW like dropped like a couple hundred, like 10, a couple 10K after they hit like a 2.1. Nobody's even bringing up that they only hit 2 point something on their previous show with Nick Gage. But that's just my opinion on it. I felt like this was a pretty below average show the way it just was formatted, and um, like just the way to just make sure everybody in the show just feels so unimportant. I just felt like this was just sloppy. Other than that, that's it for me. Thanks for watching.